everyone, and welcome to the daily newspaper analysis, which is brought to you by LawSikho. We hope you're doing fit and fine. So, today we have an editorial that we have taken from the Indian Express. The title of this article is IT Act Section 69A and the Twitter lawsuit. So, we'll basically cover as to what exactly is Section 69A of the IT Act and what recently has taken place with the Twitter and the Ministry of Electronics and Information and Technology. Moving further, we'll cover the news updates for the day and then we'll cover up the legal news for the day. Let's start with the article discussion for today. So this article talks about the IT Act, that is the Information and Technology Act, and more specifically talks about Section 69A of the IT Act. So the Twitter recently has filed a lawsuit against Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, which in short we also consider as MeTI, targeting the government directives that specifically order taking down of certain content from the government website. Now, as we know that many a times when any kind of content is found not to be very suitable for the public to be read, in this situation, the government comes forward and makes sure that such content is put down. But many a times, this is also taken down as against freedom of speech and expression, and that is why Twitter has moved against this directive of the government. Section 69A of the IT Act 2000 allows the union government to issue blocking orders to social media intermediaries in the interest of sovereignty and integrity of India, defense and strategic reasons, and friendly relations with foreign states. So when we talk about freedom of speech and expression, which is under Article 19(1)(a) of the Indian Constitution, we also know that this fundamental right is not absolute in nature. We have some reasonable restrictions under Article 19 Clause 2 as well. When we talk about the social media and under which situations can the government, specifically here, the union government, can issue blocking orders for the social media intermediaries, be it Twitter, Facebook, etc. So the grounds would be sovereignty and integrity of India, defense and strategic reasons, as well as friendly relations with the foreign states. So keeping these grounds in mind, such blockage orders have been given by the government to Twitter. Now, Twitter claims that between January to June 2021, that is in the previous year, India had made 43,383 legal demands, that is fourth highest in the world, to remove content which was specifying approximately 1,96,878 accounts, which is definitely huge. And when we come up about as the largest democracy of the world and also giving freedom of speech and expression as a fundamental right to our citizens, this huge demand for blocking of content on social media definitely stands against this right. Twitter has claimed the most of the legal demands for blocking accounts there, and they are saying that they are procedurally and substantially deficient under Section 69A, which means that the requirements which should be held under Section 69A for a particular content to be blocked by the social media intermediaries, such requirements are not met, and thus this is being covered up in such situation. These include no prior notices to users before taking down their accounts as well. So this Ministry of Information, Ministry of Electronics and IT has further failed to show how the content being taken down falls under the ambit of 69A. So this government has stated also that all of this is to make social media more accountable, and it shall continue its endeavors and efforts to make the foreign internet intermediaries accept the rule of law of the country. But in the end, it should be made sure that ultimately the freedom of speech and expression of the citizen at large should not be hampered. With this, let's move further with the news updates for the day. Firstly, V. Vijayendra Prasad, Virendra Hegde, Ilya Raja, and P.T. Usha nominated to Rajya Sabha. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated the above all dignitaries to be nominated to the Rajya Sabha. V. Vijay Prasad Guru is associated with the creative world for decades, and his works showcases India's glorious culture. Secondly, 10th World Peace Forum. So the 10th World Peace Forum has opened in Beijing with more than 300 senior officials, diplomatic envoys, and scholars participating online as well as offline. The theme for this World Peace Forum is preserving international stability, commonality, comprehensiveness, and cooperation. And many of the people will be coming around to maintain the world peace. And the topics such as preservation of world peace, European Security Order, and the United Nations will be discussed here. Thirdly, Prime Minister to launch Education Summit. So according to the Ministry of Education, the 3-day seminar will bring together over 300 vice chancellors and directors from public and private universities, educationists, policymakers, as also industry representatives to deliberate on how the implementation of the National Education Policy 2020, the implementation of which still is yet to take place in many states in the country, can be taken further across the nation after successful implementation of several initiatives in the last 2 years. Finally, let's conclude with the legal updates for the day. Firstly, purchaser of suit property cannot file application under Order 21, Rule 97 of the Civil Procedure Code objecting execution of decree holder, says the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court has held that in a situation where the suit property is being bought, the purchaser cannot make an application under Order 21, Rule 97 of CPC to object such execution of the decree holder. This was held by the Supreme Court in the case of Shriram Housing Finance and Investment India Limited versus Omesh Mishra Memorial Charitable Trust. Secondly, substantive right accrued to a litigant should not be defeated, citing procedural defects capable of being cured, says again the Supreme Court in the case of Ramnath Exports Private Limited versus Vinita Mehta. It has further said that it is a trite law that the procedural defect may fall within the scope of irregularity, which can be cured. However, the same should not defeat substantive right accrued to the litigant without affording reasonable opportunity. This was all for today. We hope you liked the session. If you did, you may like it as well as subscribe to our channel. If you wish to download the PDF of today's slides, you can join our Telegram channel. The link is there in the description box below, or you can simply scan the QR code that you can see on your screens right now. Thank you so much.